rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. We have the agenda in front of us, so there are additions or corrections.
Not that I'm aware of. There are a few corrections to some of the things that have been made to some of the resolutions, the dates and stuff, but nothing major.
Okay, great.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
Thank you, Ted. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Right, public input. Is there anybody from the public who would like to address the board at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the consent agenda? Or questions?
I'll move to approve the consent
All
agenda.
right, thank you, David.
This is Ted, I'll second.
Thank you, Ted. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. County employee recognition. Mike, you're up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For county employee recognition today in the Sheriff's Department, we have Rhiannon Roth, Corrections Officer, is recognized for service from December 12th, 2023 to December 5th, 2025.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Solid waste. Josh?
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, on my agenda today, I have to review and approve the 2026 solid waste assessment. So at the September work session, we had proposed to increase the solid waste assessment by 11% for 2026. With that, the residential assessment would go from $221 up to $245. And commercial assessments would go up from a minimum of $276 up to $306 plus, depending on the volume generated at the business. Again, the raise in assessment was due to several factors. Tipping fees at Polk County increased from $80 in 2024 to $92 a ton in 2025. Our hauling costs increased with the new contract that we had this year, or next year. And then equipment operating costs continue to increase as well. Other contributing factors are increases in wages, benefits, long-term capital planning related to our construction and demolition landfill, and the projected MPCA rules, which will close all unlined landfills in the state. And then the recent grant related projects such as a reuse center and the identified need to increase our fund balance. So I'd attached on the spreadsheet, or the attachments there, what the proposed assessment would look like on the first page. And the second page that was attached shows the assessment, what the proposed assessment would look like, and then some historical data of what it's been the last 5 years off on the right. So my recommendation would be to approve the 2026 solid waste assessment as attached. And just some other notes, we had discussed possibly delaying the repayment of our $150,000 landfill payment into the general fund back at the work session. If we did that, we could lower the solid waste assessment to probably about an 8% increase for 2026, which would be $238 for the residential assessment versus the $245. But this, however, would impact the general fund. It hasn't been budgeted for or reflected in any budgets up to this point, so.
Josh, I have a question. Just if we approve this the way it is right now, this will make your fund balance a little more firm where you'd like it to be as far as reserves and so forth?
Yep, this year, we're not projecting to really eat into reserves with this budget, so, I think we'd end, with this proposal, we'd end about 39 or 33,000 to the positive, and then moving forward, it should really make a big impact in future years, contributing to that fund balance.
But you're confident that this increase could meet all of your reserve goals that you have?
This year, I mean, it's really for identified projects, but I think moving forward in future years, then it would really start to help build our fund balance to get it up to where it
Right.
needs to be, so.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. One of them is about fund balance. What is the current fund balance?
Well, so we, it's kind of hard to, just looking at our trial balance, I think I actually don't have that in front of me, but I think it's, typically it's around $2 million at the end of the year. But that has to carry us, for the first half payments, so. The lowest point of the year, typically, I think it dips down to, a couple $100,000, $300,000-400,000 in our balance. So I think, looking at how much we, need for expenses, we probably should be doubling or tripling that over time, so.
I was looking at the amount of increase from 2021 to the proposed for 2026, and that's 60% increase over those years. I went back and looked at how much my property taxes increased for the same period, and it was 22%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, as a percentage basis, it's considerably more. Does this include that addition of another person, another FTE?
This includes, everything we had proposed in our budget, in our work session, so.
I'm not too in favor of that one.
Yeah.
I think personally, I think you can make some cuts to that 11% increase, and one of them is take out that FTE. That's my thoughts.
I was gonna add, remember the reason why we're kind of here is because we really weren't showing the true cost of what the solid waste was costing the taxpayer. We were kind of mingling it with our regular fund balances and stuff, so you really never knew. The public never really could see clearly what exactly it was costing to run solid waste, so that's why we made that shift to pay that money back. Well, the 150 you were talking about there. If we do that again, we're going back to doing what we did before, and the public can't see clearly when he sets out the fee schedules, what it really costs to run this program. So that's part of the larger increase over the 6 years is.
I've had comments from constituents, about, the money spent on equipment, personnel looks like it's getting up pretty high. We've already made comments on that for, overall, the whole county. Sometime we gotta make a stop to the number of FTEs added.
Yeah, and for next year, we'll be proposing to increase a part-time position to a full-time and then add a season, or a regular part-time position for reuse, so. And the hard part is, I guess, just with our staffing levels is, it is very seasonal and, we keep seeing more users at our facilities, our waste volumes keep increasing. So it's how do we manage our facilities to make it where we can run efficiently and meet the needs of the public, so.
If you just look at the increase of tipping fees from Polk County from 80 to 92%, that's a 15% increase in a significant portion of our cost of operations that is beyond our control. And again, remember that solid waste as an enterprise fund does not get any levy support, so it has to completely support itself off of the fees that they charge. I know this looks like a lot, but I know that when I got here, we weren't really paying for the service. We were, by the time we got to 2023, we were dipping into fund balance to a point that we don't want to be dipping into fund balance. When I look at trial balance report for October, it's showing us about 1.6 million. Is that what you were seeing?
Yeah, I was gonna say 1.7, but yeah.
So I share the same concerns you have, Tom, I mean, about growing FTEs. You know, I would defer to Josh on whether he can, you know, continue to run and provide the services, especially with the reuse center, whether you could defer a full FTE or not. You know, I haven't dove into that enough myself to make a judgment on that, but overall, we do have to start controlling the FTE growth.
Yeah, and I agree with Tom and David there. But with solid waste, there's, as Josh knows too, and has explained, there's a lot of things that are affecting the costs, and a lot of it is the tipping fees and what it costs the county to dispose of this stuff. And then you've got changing rules with the state and stuff like that. I don't like to see the increases myself. And same thing with the number of full-time employees. I've made the comment about how the county's population has grown quicker than the population of Hubbard County. And I think it's an overall thing that we've got to try to tackle here. And I've kind of looked at this too, you know, I mean, we could tweak it and lower it a little bit, but then we're going to be right back next year with another increase. And you know, you can see we increase almost every year. There's between 24 and 25, we kept it the same, but I get the same thing from residents. It seems like everything keeps going up and up and up, and we truly are trying to figure out how to keep costs down, but when like I say, when our costs go up, somebody's got to pay for it. And I hate to be, it's the taxpayer.
But if you go without paying that $150,000 of capital back this year, you gotta do it next year.
Yeah, then it affects the
Some point
levy.
you gotta do it, because before, as I said, we were taking regular county capital funds and using it on this, so that it really wasn't a true sense of what this was costing.
Yeah, and that $150,000 is a great example. I mean,
Yep.
we had to borrow from the general fund so we could do what we needed to do with solid waste. And so, yeah, it's,
Well,
I
when
go
you,
back to the same thing as before, you know, it's like, this is hard, because everybody's expenses have gone up. Everybody's feeling the pressure. Hopefully, we're starting to see that this is tailing off and not becoming as extreme. But the county and government is not immune to cost increases also. And, you know, the taxpayer has to realize that we have the same problem.
I fully agree, but 11% increase, 60% over, what is it, 5 years? That's a lot.
Yeah, how much of that is that capital payback though? Because that was $500,000 over the last 3 years.
It's
Take that out of this.
yeah.
And then it's not so alarming. So that was a purposeful shift, so the taxpayer understood. They were paying it either way. They were either paying it through the regular levy, or they were paying it through this levy. So it was there no matter what. We just moved it onto the solid waste assessment. So it's more clear what the program costs.
Yeah, and I guess just how we operate, again, it's,
We could certainly shift. We could cut those rates in half and charge fees for everything that people bring there, like every other county solid waste does. And it would cost people a lot more than $20 a month for their solid waste assessment.
I do think that we,
That's the alternative we have, is if we're gonna maintain a single-use fee for any and all disposal, then it's gonna go up. And if we want that to not go up, then we start charging for the things that cost us the most money.
Well, I have another question, and I wonder why, like the out-of-county household fee going up from $275 to $300 for 2026, and that's only a 9% increase. And yet residents are getting an 11% increase.
Yeah, I was just, when we were factoring this in, it was somewhere between a, 9 and 11% increase in the solid waste assessment we were looking at. So at the fee schedule, it was just trying to adjust that price up roughly. I mean, it wasn't exactly 11%, but 300 was just in that, kind of rounding to the nearest bigger number, so.
When I look at costs in other counties and how their solid waste department operates, I still think that we're getting good value for the money as far as a tax solid waste assessment on properties. I don't know too many others where you can just take tires and concrete and refrigerators and all kinds of metal and oil. Now we do a lot of the reuse center, which I think is important. I know I've dropped things off there and it's been gone within 20 minutes. As soon as I drive out the gate, I think somebody's loading it up. And I appreciate all of the work you've done getting grants for the improvement of the department as a whole. I think that's key in the success of the operation. So I guess,
We should be clear that reuse is not a mandated function.
yes.
And the cost of reuse does not offset the diverted cost of materials into a regular waste stream. So that service costs us money to provide. And more than half of what we're asking for in staffing for next year is additional staff to continue to maintain that because of the increased volume.
Yep.
We've also got a project in the works to improve our space to be able to provide that service. So that is that's a significant policy change to take that from what it was 2-3 years ago when it was just out on the curb to having that be a structured portion of the service we provide. It costs money every year. We're getting grants, sure we are, but we're still paying more to provide that service than it is offsetting us in general operating costs.
Yeah, then I just think, when I think about the disposal cost of those items that travel through the reuse center, that's not factored into that thing, that whole formula. So if you're not putting 60 tons in per week into the garbage, you're letting people reuse it, and it's being put to good use, and it's saving people money. So, all right, is there any more discussion, questions? Is there a motion?
I will move to approve the fee schedule based on the rational reason that we moved that capital funding to this. That's why the increases are what they are.
And this Ted, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, is that it, Josh?
Oh, yeah, that's all I had for this part.
Does anybody have any questions for Josh before he leaves? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Human Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have in front of you today is a collections receivable write-off request. There's actually 2 requests within it. This is the first we brought this to the board. It comes from a policy that we had approved by the board in October, the first meeting in October here in 2025. Which one's first? First write-off request is, I believe it's a detox bill. We've exhausted all efforts on that. Statute of limitations is passed, so we're unable to bring it for any further legal rounds. So it's a debt that we've been carrying. We'd like to have it kind of stripped off our book. We paid it back in 2022 and just kind of sitting there and floating. So the second one listed is a placement cost that We had made efforts to try to have another entity cover that cost. We have communication with them and documented denials that they made the placement, so the result of the cost was paid by us back in 2023 with the partnership there with Northwoods Juvenile Center. We paid the bill, and we're just looking to take it off our collections.
That one's a little harder to swallow.
So Mike, what are we doing to avoid the second scenario from happening again?
So on some of those children's placements, when other agencies are involved, this one was a tribal entity. It looks like the placement was made by that entity, but the kid is also a resident of Hubbard County, so it kind of defaults back to us. We do see this. I did ask in Children's Unit how often this happens. They said it does happen from time to time. I think the issue on this one, it was just a longer placement than what was expected. Moving forward, what we should be doing and what we can do is having a better conversation on the front end with those other entities, whether it's a tribe or another county, making sure that we sort that out right away, and not doing it after the fact when an invoice shows up.
Yeah, and maybe getting something in writing right away from them, or an email. Yeah, because I have a harder time with that one, because if they placed them, that's
And they
basically
indicated that
tacit
they did.
authorization.
They indicated they didn't place them, so I think this was one of those kid got placed. Nobody owned to the placement. CFR determines who was gonna fund it, so then it naturally came to us.
As you can see, it gets expensive in a hurry.
Like I said, this isn't new cost, this is something that's been paid. It's just been sitting in collections, and Clarice has been making efforts to get those caught up, but there's a few here in the next few months as well that are just coming up to the end of statute of limitations, and there's nothing she can do to get the repayment back.
And here's a situation, we're adding that collections officer. We are collecting more than we had in the past. And we're still up against the fact that some of these are gonna be uncollectible debts, and carrying them on the books is problematic. And I agree, something that's 8 years old makes a little more sense. Something that's new is a little harder to swallow, but in this situation, we are kind of stuck. And having that position filled means we're gonna have fewer of these as we go down the road, but right now, we're playing cleanup.
Have you looked into anything as far as policy-wise, or so to say statute-wise, that we could use to avoid this in the future, as far as, besides just some written communications or anything? Is there a statute, or, being that we're serving the tribe, that we can use to try to get money back in the future?
No, not specifically on this. That is one question we worked on, Clarice and I did discuss, and she does run all these cases by our county attorney's office before she says this is all I can do. So I do not know the specific questions she's asked on them, but she does do consults with them when it gets to a point where she sees the number of years on each one is coming up. So
And we don't operate under a service agreement with the tribe or anything like that.
Not
It's
to my
just
knowledge.
as needed,
correct.
on a case-by-case basis. I appreciate the work she's done. She has made a big difference.
Right, and she wasn't in place on a lot of the start dates of these ones will be coming through, and so she kind of came in on the tail end, and
Yeah.
it's unfair to her that she has to sign off on them, but,
Some of these might come through fairly quickly, where you gotta have someplace for the child to go to, but is there any way to get authorization from someone from the tribe prior to making a placement, or, so this doesn't happen again?
that I don't have an answer to, how Northwest does their authorizations.
And I think these
From- yeah.
placements can happen fast.
Yeah.
You've only got a
Speaking from
limited amount of time.
experience at a previous, working for a previous employer, there is generally authorizations that happen during the working hours. But if placements are made outside of standard time, there's a manager on duty there who knows the rules the best they can, but they may very well accept someone that
Can't
placement
understand
wasn't
why they would-
authorized until the next day.
Can't understand why they wouldn't want to own this one.
So, but there is notes in our filing system that looks like we did make those attempts and
Just fell short.
fell short, I guess.
All right. Is there a motion?
Yeah, this is Ted, I'll make the motion. It's kind of regrettable, but if you can't collect the money and now people are spending time trying to collect the money that's not collectible, that's a waste of money too, so.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Ted. Thank you, Tom. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Anything else, Mike?
Nope.
Do you guys have any questions for Mike at all?
How's it going?
It's good, it's cold today. I had to wear a jacket all the way over here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much. Facilities maintenance.
I think we can get this one in.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I come before you today to get approval to do some replacement of our exhaust fans on the jail over there. As the packet reflects, these are kind of older. They were installed when the building was built. The 10 to 15-year expectancy of their lifespan is based on a very diligent preventative maintenance plan, and we've exceeded that. So normally we're going up there a few times a year, checking belts, checking motors, and it seems like this year we've had a lot more motors going than we've had in the past. So I think it's time we get these bad boys upgraded to modern technology.
Is this quote from the same company who's doing the rest of the facility? or-
The recommended quote is yes.
Okay.
They were able to get me their numbers as well. They'll be similar to the direct drive units they're installing as part of the jail expansion. The units from Peterson, as quoted, were direct drive as well, so we'll be getting away from a lot of the belt replacements and that kind of setup. So
So this will be an upgrade, basically?
it'll be an upgrade, more efficiency, so I think they will qualify for a small rebate back from Minnesota Power because they are a little bit more efficient than what we're currently using, so. And overall labor cost should go down for us, so we won't have to have to worry about going up there. It always is kind of rough in the middle of winter when we get a report from the jail that we have no air circulation in certain pods, which means that we're going up on top when we prefer not to be up there at all in the wintertime, but,
Well, I don't blame you there.
yeah.
Well, this is Ted, I'll make a motion to accept the low quota number 2. One thing I did notice was that number 2, Thielen, is replacing 12 fans, and Peterson Sheet Metal is only replacing 11.
Correct. The initial quote was for 11 fans. However, we discovered we had another one up there, as opposed to trying to have contact Peterson and wait another month or two. We waited. I've been working on this since probably August, trying to get these all quotes in. I went ahead and proceeded with them, being that they were, Thielen's was less expensive anyhow with the 12. Usually those fans are about another $2,000 to $3,000 a piece, so if you ballpark that against Peterson's, they're gonna be even more expensive, so.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
Thanks, Kai.
Thank you. All right, now I need a motion to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing for the fee schedule.
I'll move.
Thank you.
This is Ted, I'll second.
Thank you, Ted. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We have the draft
We do have the draft, and this is the same one I think that we saw a few weeks ago. With some of the upgrades, this should reflect the request that the board made of environmental services related to after the fact and variance fees, with a charge on the first one and an additional charge on additional items. I don't think anything has increased significantly, although we do have some things that will hold the same for 3-4 years and then go up to a reasonable number so that we're not charging $17.38 for a service. You can see the changes listed in red, so pretty much just environmental services and I think a few others. But so this is what we presented, this is what's out there. The purpose of this is to collect any public comment. I have received no public comment on the proposed fee schedule prior to the meeting.
Those parks and rec fees, those are to reserve only. Is that correct?
Are for what?
Those park and rec fees, those are to reserve only. I mean, somebody can, if it's open, somebody can walk up and use them then.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I figured.
And when someone reserves a shelter, then they put a sign up saying the shelter is reserved for the period of time, or they put a notice up there so that there isn't a confusion about it being available to walk up versus somebody who made a reservation. Has it ever come up that we've had a problem with that? No, the guys are pretty good about making sure they're posted. So the first thing would be to know if we have any public comment on the public hearing.
And I see none.
I think we'll get the public comment when a person has to pay for one of these fees.
Perhaps, yes.
And we probably won't hear it as much as the person who's collecting the money, the staff person.
I think that was your intention when you gave that direction a couple of weeks ago.
That one that was one step higher up there for the non-resident, probably ought to go up to the full 11% that you just recently approved for resident ones. That's a 9% increase right there, right on
To
top.
be equal.
Yeah.
You just made a motion to pass the solid waste fees as presented.
Yeah, but this is a separate one.
Yes, but the solid waste fees are.
Part of that.
Oh,
are
this one
represent-
is indicated? Okay, this is the only place I saw that for a non-resident.
Yeah, I didn't see it in the.
I didn't see it
solid
in the
waste
one that
fees
was approved.
Oh, it would just be in the fee schedule? Okay. Then we could make that adjustment to make that 11%. What would
I
that,
was thinking,
what would that?
305.
305.
305.25, so 305 would
Yeah.
rounding the nearest dollar.
305 or 310?
310.
So we should probably close the public hearing if there's no comment and then have a conversation about approving the schedule.
All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
We will open the regular meeting now. Okay, discussion about that. Is there any more discussion? Do we want to?
So if that would be your recommendation, Commissioner Kruger, then you would make a motion to accept the fee schedule with the amendment of increasing that fee to 310.
310, correct. Yes,
That would be your motion?
yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, Dave seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, if we're done with that, we will move to highway survey. Good morning.
Reminder, we've got, Andrea's out of out of the country for 10 days
Yes, that's correct.
vacation, so
Filling in for her
we've got
today.
Adam and Eric this.
And I
next-
take it
next
not
week
just to
and a half.
Canada, out of the country?
Right? Yep, she's,
Caribbean out of the country?
no, to Europe there,
Oh,
so,
wow, okay.
yes. Yep, good for her there, so. Yeah, we can jump in here. The first item we had, was we're looking to purchase another Trimble GPS system. We've felt the need over the past few summers. We currently have 2 GPS systems. We've felt the need with busy summers to purchase a third one. We're looking to use our auction revenue from this summer to purchase this unit for the engineering department.
If our auction proceeds fall short, how are we gonna cover the difference?
I think we did get about 55,000 this summer from the auction revenue already, so,
Right.
yep, so it would cover this purchase.
It seems like, these Trimbles have been coming up the last year or two.
Yeah, this one is a new model there. Yeah, they're not getting cheaper by any means.
They are a tremendous time saver.
They are,
for
I
man
agree.
hours and walking and
I agree, and
accuracy.
Yep, our survey department actually purchased the same unit this summer and had really good luck. Yeah, just getting better service, spending less time trying to find service out in the woods there. So they have come a long way. But yeah, we've definitely felt the need with some busy summers. If you got 3 or 4 projects going on and only 2 GPS units.
One guy's doing a lot of running,
Yeah,
back and forth.
Yeah, it can be a struggle at times, and we've needed to borrow units from survey before, and then they're down a unit. So I think the need is there for a third unit.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve, yeah, the Frontier Precision.
Okay. I'll second. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
This next item is our bridge replacement priority list. Basically, it's kind of summarizes a few of the bridges that are getting low ratings from our inspections. We need to get them on a resolution to be able to apply for state bridge funding. And some of these, or I guess one of them on the list is a township bridge there. They need to get on this resolution as well to be available or to be awarded state funding.
That doesn't mean the funding is there for the bridges, but it is
Correct.
priority list for replacement purposes.
Yes, yep, thanks, Steve, yep.
Right.
Adam, how many bridges do we have?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my
I know.
head.
Dozens, hundreds?
Is
It's,
it in the 80s?
yeah, I would agree. It's probably under 100,
Yep.
but close to 100,
And
yep.
is this, when you look at the LPI, which I know is a measurement
Yep.
of the,
Quality.
is this all of them that are under?
I would, these are, yes, these are most of them that are
The lowest scored ones that we have?
correct, yep. Yep, there's none out there that are lower than these.
Okay, and then, and I'm just refreshing this from my mind and for anybody who's listening, at what LPI score do you get dinged from MnDOT relative to the condition of the
Right.
bridges?
I believe it's 65.
Yeah, once you start getting under that, then it's,
That's
Def-
when it kicks in that,
Yep.
hey, you need to do something with this bridge.
yep, definitely.
Condition.
Correct. So all of those are under 65 right now.
And the purpose of this resolution is simply to have a list so that we can apply for funding.
Yep, exactly.
funding,
It's
yeah.
part of the application to have this resolution there, so, yep.
And then, just so people understand, it's not just a structural bridge. These include box culverts and things like that, that are over a certain size that qualify that makes them a bridge.
Isn't it anything with a span of more than 10 feet, or is it 10 feet?
10 feet.
So it could be tandem culverts.
Yeah,
It
Yes,
Could be considered a bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
there's,
Instead, I'll make the motion to approve the list.
thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
next item is our, the City of Nevis paving projects we did this summer, in conjunction with our CASA 13 project. Just the final payment acceptance for that project, with Anderson Brothers Construction.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. The city of Nevis and the county were quite happy with the results.
Yes, yep, I think everything went pretty good there this summer with both those projects, so.
Did they have any deducts or anything?
No,
Anything to
they
argue
didn't.
about, or?
Nope, yeah, I know, we had to keep, yeah. The state was keeping an eye on Anderson Brothers
Yeah,
this
oh,
summer,
yeah.
but, no, everything went really smooth there and everyone was happy there, so.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
This next one is the final payment for our CASA 24 and Island View Drive, that's Mantrap Townships. The box culvert replacements from 2024. That project carried over to this summer, just with some turf establishment that we needed to make sure was done. So we're accepting it and looking for the final payment approval now.
Dave, I'll move to approve.
Okay, all right. Thank you, David. I'll second. Any more discussion? I know the township was quite happy with
Yes,
with
they
the
were.
result.
Yep.
And it was needed
It
badly.
was. Yes, agreed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Opposed? All right, motion carried.
This next item, is a resolution to approve our right-of-way purchases on, a project we're doing next year in CASA 30. We are looking to pave that road completely. Right now, a portion of the road is gravel, and we're looking to pave it. Part of that is doing some grading work and some ditch improvements. The easements are all temporary easements, roughly 5 to 10 feet into their property, just to allow some better ditching that's needed for slope improvements. It is, a few of the properties or parcels are tax forfeit land, but most of them, they're pretty small amounts. So we're estimating about $5,000 in right-of-way temporary easements.
You answered one of my questions. I was wondering what was the purpose of the easement, but the other question I had was, once you no longer need them, is there any kind of restoration done to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. It does say in the easement that we need to put it back to its original state or better. Typically, it's just turf establishment. We need to make sure that grass comes back up. But it'll be, basically to improve the back slope of the ditch. Yeah, if you don't have that, then your ditches are too steep that aren't safe enough. So we need a slope that's safe for our drivers there. So if that makes sense.
And I think between our staff and contractors, they're pretty open to trying to please the landowner.
Yes.
Make it accommodate.
Yep,
Accommodations
exactly.
for them and what they want.
Yep.
Within reason.
Right, yep.
Do any have fences there that have to be?
No, they don't. We do run into that, and then you do have to pay fence damages. This project, it does not appear that we're gonna have that on any of these parcels, so.
All right. Did we have a motion in a second?
Instead, I'll make we do, or we need one?
I was asking, I don't recall. I
I'll
had
make a
other-
motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. I was looking at Denise, but she didn't respond.
Sorry.
We had not had one to that point.
Okay, all right. I kind of lost track of myself.
Yep. The last item we have, is a resolution, or it's multiple resolutions for LRIP projects, which is Local Road Improvement Program projects. Similar to our bridge projects, these projects need a resolution to apply for the grant funding. So we do have 4 projects that we're looking to apply for this year. One of them is White Oak Township is applying for their Far North Drive. They're looking to pave that road. We're looking to apply for our Hubbard County CASA 23 project. That's actually a project in 2027. We're looking to apply for that this year. The city of Park Rapids is looking to apply for Kaywood Drive. And then the city of Akeley is looking to apply for Crow Wing Lake Drive. All the cities and townships need us to be the agency that handles the funding there. So that's why they need to come through us to get these LRIP resolutions.
I see the City of Akeley one was presented this morning.
Yes, it was kind of a late addition, so yes, thank you Denise for getting that to everyone. Yes, they reached out kind of late here, but the grant applications are due next Friday, so it was good that they got a hold of us when they did, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Ted. Is there a second? I'll second. Any more discussion?
Just to clarify, so the motion is to approve all 4 resolutions.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
That was everything on my list.
Anybody have any questions for Adam?
Are you all ready for winter?
Yes.
Is the highway department
it's
all
here.
ready for winter?
Yeah, it's here, so yeah, no, it's kind of a shock, every time the first snow comes, but yeah, nope, I think everyone's ready and,
I expect the first snow to usually melt and go
right,
away and
I agree, we didn't get that lucky this
We had
time.
fall and then we had winter.
Yes, yep, so.
Have we had any number of complaints about anything? or-
A little bit, I think CASA for the north part, the guys, went out, I think they did end up putting some more salt sand down. Just that snowpack ice is tough to manage, so
Yeah, you
when it's
can't
this
be out
cold.
there. Yeah, you can't be out there all the time. And
No.
once traffic packs that down, when
Yeah.
it gets cold like that, you just cannot get rid of it,
it's
even with
tough.
product like that.
Yep,
You have to scrape it and put some product down,
Yep.
loosen it up, and then go back and scrape it again.
yeah,
Gets to be quite time consuming.
yes, so.
Which costs us money.
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
Fuel, wear and tear,
Yep.
cutting edges are not cheap.
No, so yeah, it's finding that balance of safety and,
Yep.
yeah, our labor there, so,
Okay, well, thank you.
thanks guys.
Natural resources.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning. I have one question before we start.
Yeah.
On the fee schedule.
Yes.
I was running through that laundry list there, and there's a bunch of fees for non-compliance with like landings and approaches and
Yep.
stuff like that. Has that been an issue in the past?
No, it's kind of in there in case we do need it.
Yep.
Usually, everything does work out pretty good. If we do have an issue, we kind of say we have this, and then kind of the bringing it up brings them into compliance.
And it's all in the sale documentation
Yes,
as well?
yes,
So that
yep.
they're fully aware of it?
Yep. Technically, it probably doesn't have to be in the fee schedule. It's in the permit itself. So.
Well,
And
I'd
they-
rather have it in there than not.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, so they sign the permit, they sign that they're gonna abide by the rules and,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
we haven't had an issue for a
Thanks
while.
for clarifying that.
Yep. So, 4 things on the agenda today. First is first of all, we've had the department's always had some kind of a plow, and about 5 years ago, we got rid of it with one of our F-550s that we sold to the solid waste department. So we're finally coming back, and we have budgeted for a new V-plow for our 2019 F-550 with the dump bed. It is a dually, so the plow did need to be 9 foot or bigger. The plow that we requested quotes for, would be used to plow out approaches for the safety of our foresters, to set up timber. Also, parking lots like by Blacksmith Lake, so people could park their trucks and their trailers and drive snowmobile in on a snowmobile trail, so they don't have to be messing with the snowmobile trails and their vehicle tracks. And the big thing also is to help plow out a lot of our parks, parking lots, including the driveway and parking area at Deep Lake Park. So we did get 2 quotes, one from Thielen's Precast, just north of Park Rapids, and then one from Swanson's Repair in Detroit Lakes. The one from Thielen's Precast was actually a little bit cheaper, so that's why I chose them as the first quote. It's a 9'2" V plow with it's steel, not plastic or whatever material that is. But it's a steel V plow. They would install it for free, or the installation would come with the price and the lights, and they could get it done within 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Another thing is it does come with warranty, and parts are easy to get, they mentioned, and they come fast, so if we do need parts in the future. Boss plows are a popular plow. I know a lot of people that use them, and they like using them, so looking for approval for that purchase.
So once you have it, you're gonna start plowing the road into Deep Lake?
Yes, yep.
And do we plow the access, like just into Heartland Park and that parking lot area?
The city does it, but they only do a little bit. It'd be nice to do a little bit more. We did in the past, and right now they pretty much just do the loop, first loop.
Right.
But they don't plow with the parking areas, which we should have plowed out. And then, like the snowmobile race on the lake, we usually have to hire that out to get plowed.
Access.
It'd be nice if we could just do it ourselves and save money there.
Okay.
It's gonna get a workout.
Yeah, it'll give Greg something to
Well,
do
you'll
this
find
winter
more
for sure.
uses, there's no doubt. There's more things that come up that you don't think of.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
Yep.
I'll move to approve, Thielen Precast.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there a second? Thank you, Ted. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
All right, thank you. Next item is a pretty big item, something we've been waiting for ever since I've gotten here. Something that Chip started probably 4 or 5 years ago. It's to finally open up the Deep Lake property to the public. We're looking at opening it at 6 a.m. tomorrow, being the day after the board meeting that it gets approval to get opened. Park hours will be 6 a.m. or it's not technically a park. We'd open it as public property at this time. A CUP is needed to make it a park still, so it'd be open as public property from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Ski trails are being planned out by the county and the Itasca Tour Club, which are some are going to be groomed this winter. I'm sure pretty soon once we open it and ice forms and we get a little bit more snow. The lake will also be open to the public. I just asked that anglers practice catch and release. It's not a very big lake, and if fish numbers do get pretty low, we'll have to start implementing some kind of regulations on limits and working with the DNR on that.
With that, since it's only open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.,
Yep.
are you going to allow people to stay on the lake overnight with a house if they
No,
want? Or-
no,
Okay.
and the lake is non-motorized, so they can't pull an ice castle out there.
No, but I'm just saying, if
Yeah.
somebody has a
If they want to,
pop-up shelter
yeah,
that they feel comfortable
Yep.
sleeping in, could they do that? just-
I would say no.
Okay.
It's a full broad spectrum of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, all right. Thanks for clarifying that.
But in the campgrounds, there will be kind of borders where people can stay, you know, camp and,
No, that's,
have campfires till 10:30 at night or whatever.
Should we put some signage out there that,
I did, yep.
I mean, the catch and release piece?
Yeah, to practice catching and release. I should do something like that. I've been kind of wanting to put something like that there. I could see 50 people getting out there and getting their limits of crappies every day that we're not. But it is a deep lake, which helps out a little bit, but
yeah, but
Based
that'll,
on the netting
Yeah.
information, there's
Yep.
probably not that many in there.
yeah, so
fast.
we'll see. There's a lot of bass. I know a lot of people don't like to keep bass anyway, so that's a good thing.
On the catch, though.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was under the assumption there was no fish in that lake.
There are no fish in that lake.
Yeah.
And also maybe, so until we get our COP, that this still cannot have public hunting on the property.
No, so the signs I have out there says no hunting. The only way we can have like a hunt out there is if, say, the turkeys get really bad or something and we need to give special lottery permits. But with people skiing and hiking, I just don't think hunting's a good thing at this time.
So you'll have signs up there?
Yeah, we do have signs, yep. I put more up yesterday even, so.
So the covenants on the acquisition of that property meant no hunting unless the county deemed that a special county permitted hunt was necessary.
Yep.
So generally, no hunting on the 410
Yep.
acres of that park. Non-motorized north of the driveway and the parking lot, which includes the lake. So those signs are up at all the trailheads and in the parking area. And then I think we mentioned before, the next things to do are do an environmental assessment so we can get the conditional use permit. And we're working on updating the parks policy to include specific elements related to Deep Lake Park. So when we say park hours are 6 to 10, same as, a state park, right? They have stated hours, but if you're a registered camper, then you're supposed to be there, right? So if you have a registration and a reason to be there, then you can be there. So we'll be getting those things. I think actually we'll be bringing the, if we don't bring the updated ordinance in 2 weeks, we'll be bringing it right away in January.
I had a chance to walk around there.
Oh, sure.
7,192 steps.
Hey, nice, okay.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah, yep.
All the way
But I
around the
still
lake?
say, we should add a sliding hood off the old Bunny Hill,
Yeah,
because it would drive younger
yep, so,
families up there.
yeah, there's a few spots you could definitely make a sliding hill.
It's a really good idea.
And,
Yeah.
It's a cool little hike around.
Yep.
So about 2 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now I would just advise the public to be safe around the beaver dam or beaver house. Stays open almost throughout the whole winter. There's a thin layer of ice. You can always see moisture creeping up through the snow or the ice, but, I guess, yeah, I want visitors to respect the non-motorized use part of it. Pretty much the state of the driveway and parking area, and then the non-motorized on the lake too. That's a big thing, and we'll have enforcement out on site. We have a deputy that works for our department enforcing these issues, so we'll have him there quite a bit, and then watching for illegal activities, littering, that sort of thing too. So, and we'll also have an outhouse. So. Yeah, exciting. I hope the public has fun and finally can open it up to the public as public property. And then the Parks Board did approve the soft opening also for December 3rd. So looking for approval to open up Deep Lake to the public tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you, Ted. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, thank you.
Don't you have a couple more?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Looks like you were getting up. Sorry.
Just excited. We gotta figure out which one's next.
The easement.
The easement, okay. So I have a request from Denise Tim. She owns a 40 up in Hendrickson Township, section 13. She's looking for a 507-foot easement, which contains 0.38 acres. Very short distance easement. It'd be 33 feet in width, and it's already her driveway. So she just wants it to be a legal driveway. So if she needs to sell the property at some point, she can legally sell it with legal access. There's kind of two little chunks. It goes up into that other person's property, which she already has an easement across his property, and then it comes back down. So she's looking for a legal access across the tax forfeited property. It'll be about $570 that she'll have to pay to the county for that easement. So looking for approval to get a recorded easement from us.
I'll make a motion to approve. It's nice to see, I'm sure that there's probably dozens of these same situations where people are going across tax forfeited land without easements. And so it's nice that the landowner came forward.
Yes, it is, and it's nice for them too that they can maintain their driveway without calling us every time saying, "Can we limb this, or trim this tree branch?" Or they have that 33 feet that they can do what they need to do with. So.
At the same time, she knows it's not exclusive to her.
Yes, yep. She knows that it's still public property. Can't put gates up or barricades, and then it will pass on to the next owner too. So.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Tom. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
So who put that driveway in from the road through 3 parcels?
It was probably just traditionally a trail, and then somebody
Yeah, I'm
say,
sure.
well, I want to build a house back there, so,
Time.
yeah. that's,
Obviously, everything on that tax forfeited parcel is recently planted based on this.
Yeah,
It's
that's
young-
probably.
It's younger than the stuff around it.
Yes, it's probably 15 years old or something, so, yeah. Yeah, you see some interesting stuff out there. Last item is to review resolutions to act as the local sponsor for the Itasca Tour Outdoor Activities Club and the Two Inlets Forest Riders Snowmobile Club. We've sponsored these clubs for years. The main thing for me, I just make sure that they're doing what they have to do. Make sure they're grooming when they need to groom, and then trails are maintained to safe standards. Haven't had any issues with these clubs, so I would suggest to continue to act as the local sponsor.
I'll move to approve both.
All right, thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ted. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
All right, thank you.
you.
Did you want to go over the scope of Deep Lake, or?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll bring that forward after.
Yeah,
the-
okay.
Yep.
All
We
right.
won't have that determined until
Yeah.
the Parks Board meets again and can bring that forward.
Sure. Yep. All right. Well, thank you. Have a good week.
All right, thank you.
Do you want to
We'll
hang
see you
out?
out at the Deep Lake at some point.
Not at 6 a.m. tomorrow, but
Go out there this
I might have to take some PTO to go fishing.
Do you want to hang out for the next conversation? Okay, perfect. So the first, if we go into the administrator's report, the first item on my administrator report is a little bit of a conversation with Annie Knight from Northern Waters Land Trust. She and I had a long conversation last week, and unfortunately, what ended up getting printed in the paper probably demonstrated an adversarial relationship between the county and Northern Waters Land Trust, which is not true, right? We've worked with them before. They're working for us right now on a project. We have a relationship and a responsibility to manage conservation lands within the county. Our request and conversation was about having a voice in and an opportunity to have a voice in the conversion of taxable parcels to non-taxable parcels. It was not to create the controversy that ended up getting printed in the paper. Unfortunately, the paper printed exactly what we said because she takes the transcript from YouTube. So we need to be aware of that.
She missed the key part. She missed a lot though, too.
She did. She doesn't take the whole transcript, but she usually gets her language from the transcript. So good and bad. So I drafted a letter to Northern Waters Land Trust after my conversation with Annie last week, and she has a letter from their board back to this board. So I'm going to pass both of these out now. And Annie, if you want to come forward, if that's all right. What we talked about was just setting that conversation in the right perspective, reestablishing the fact that the county is going to advocate for legislation that allows us to have a part in determination of converting those parcels, especially when public funds are used. But that we recognize that we are working together on a lot of these projects. So I will let you have the microphone.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to come and be with you today. As Jeff said, we were a little bit taken aback by how strong the opposition was towards not just the project, but it felt like our organization. We've had a really strong working relationship with Hubbard County, especially over the last 3 years. We've done at least 3 major projects that have protected 2,800 acres that have been purchased by our organization with the public funds through the Outdoor Heritage Fund, and then conveyed directly to the county at no to little cost to the county. And now those lands are in county ownership to be managed locally by the county, and is also a source of revenue as you guys are managing those lands for timber. So our partnership has been strong. I would love to see our partnership continue to be strong and would welcome conversations in the future. The meeting last time and the meeting before, it's bringing up some tricky questions as we're acquiring land and then conveying those lands to the DNR. And I think that there's an opportunity to have some earlier conversations between our organization and the county about which lands are good for conservation, and having that conversation earlier on is something that we're definitely open to and would welcome a conversation on.
And the one thing that I noted in the letter that I wrote is it was a miss on our part to not have her here for any meeting where we're considering action that they're requesting. So that's something we can definitely do to make sure that she's available when we put those items on the board. Yeah, and then it's just important for us to include that planning as we move forward. And there are going to be times when we disagree, but the 80 or 90% of the time that we're working on the same thing, we need to recognize that first, right? And you know, as mentioned in that last acquisition, there were 200 acres that were missed, and they're actively working on helping us to acquire those acres to fill in that hole, where we don't want somebody to have that 200 acres in the middle of our managed area and then come in and say, I need an easement and a road and maintenance and services, right? We want the contiguous portion. So we are partners, and we agree better than 80% of the time on what that looks like. And this is just an opportunity to state that so that the press hears it. And then reaffirm, you know, some of the positions relative to the county, that tax capacity and maintenance of tax capacity is really important, and the county would like to be involved in those decisions where it's appropriate, and or advocate for more opportunities to have that voice. So we always have that right to do that. And I think that when we're at AMC next week, we're gonna meet with Jack Swanson from Roseau County and talk about joining one of those northern counties groups, so that we have a group to advocate with on behalf of those things. But we always have the opportunity to just simply have a conversation with the Northern Waters Land Trust and their board and involve them in this. And we just shouldn't have an item on the agenda that regards them without them being here. even if the reaction would have been the same, that we think those lands aren't appropriate, we bid or used in some other case, at least there'd be an opportunity for a conversation about it. So that's what I promised Annie, is that we would not have a decision about them on the board without her having an opportunity to be here, which I think is fair.
Well, I appreciate everything that's been done up to this point, helping facilitate anything with Deep Lake Park and then the other lands to make sure that our parcels aren't landlocked by any means. We certainly appreciate that because it does benefit the county and it benefits the taxpayer in whole. So I just wanted to make sure that, we're not trying to be adversarial, but we have to stand up for what we feel as commissioners that is right by our residents, trying to keep our tax capacity up so that our tax dollars aren't quite such a burden to the property owners. So
I had the same reaction to the article when I read it too. I was a little upset at first, and because it didn't convey, I think, in its entirety it just conveyed our point of view on the parcel and its tax capacity. We are favorable in the right conditions to protecting property and supporting your activities. But there are going to be times where we disagree, like the last case here, and also certain parcels as part of the Wanawak transaction. There are times we're going to disagree on some of those things, and that's okay. It's frustrating for us sometimes because we have no control over it. We can't. It's a private market transaction, so we feel like we're kind of being strong-armed a little bit sometimes on that. But by and large, the vast majority of what you do is good stuff. Nobody wants an adversarial position. I just feel that in these last two transactions, we lost significant tax capacity in areas that are already extremely well protected. So how far do you go before you start harming the taxpayer too? So that's why I personally drew a line on some of those parcels saying, no, I wouldn't be in favor of that because I believe we have more than enough to do what's necessary. So, but we do appreciate working with you, and I'm sorry the newspaper article was the way it was because we had conversation in that meeting, if you go back and listen to the record, that it doesn't have to be one or the other, and that we're generally supportive of environmental concerns and stuff. Otherwise, we wouldn't be protecting our resources and we wouldn't have anything of value here if we did that. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and I recognize that, as to Jeff's point, we're going to agree and have the same mission and vision on 80% or more of the things that are coming across our desks, and that 20%, I think we can just have better communication on as we're moving forward. So thank you for saying that, and again, appreciate the opportunity to meet with you today to just maybe have a little bit of a lighter tone to it.
I want to say that we have made about $400,000 in the last 4 years off land we've gotten from you, from timber sales, so that's appreciated too. $400,000 helps out a lot, so.
Yeah.
It's 4 years.
Because I would tell you, as an example, if we would have known long prior to the transaction happening with the Wanawak properties, we would have conveyed the exact same thing to you a lot earlier. And it may have made a difference, it may not have, I don't know. But
Sure.
it seems like when we find out about it, it's already a fait accompli. And
Yeah.
that's frustrating.
Yeah, and process-wise on our end, we are working with private landowners, and their confidentiality is of the utmost importance to us. And so when we come to a public forum, then we are exposing that private landowner to the public. And so we're just so intentional about that timing. And right now with our grant requirements, of course, it's one of our requirements to notify the county. That said, I think there's an opportunity to maybe have some more internal conversations about joint priorities and what might be flagged as something that could be an issue in the future. So, yeah, just wanted to note that confidentiality piece is so critical for us and the trust that we have with the landowners that we're working with.
I'd like to point out that with this property and with any other in the future, we have a good ordinance in place that does, protects the water quality and watershed. I mean, you know, like in one example is there's a 50-foot shore impact zone that has to be enforced. Setbacks 100 feet. Most of that property would have been green, even if there's 6 lots with 6 homes and garages on them. Most of it would have been green. So we have a good ordinance in place that also balances well with conservation and economic development, to increase our tax capacity. So we don't have to have all the land going public in order to protect it.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that's really nice about the conservation programs that we have is we have an opportunity for land acquisition, but then also conservation easements. So the landowners who already have their lands developed, but want to see it conserved, there's, you know, that happy medium there to continue to have those property taxes being paid, but still have the land in conservation. I will just note the property on Upper Bottle Lake, you can't necessarily tell in the map that we provided you, but the shoreline is super steep. And so it's not, it might look like prime shoreline developable property, but I can share with you a topographic map if you would be interested. But the shoreline is extremely elevated, and so just wanted to share that with you for context on that specific property.
And we have very similar issues when we're working on economic development items. When we're creating an industrial park and people say, well, who's gonna build here? Even if I knew, I couldn't tell you until it was done. We have to do the planning and create the conditions and have the policies in place that say that when we are doing this, we're doing this for these reasons. So the planning, the policies, the conversation, that's the part we need to engage in between NRM and NWLT and make sure that we're kind of on the same page. And there's still gonna be places where we disagree. And we still have the opportunity to advocate for legislation that says if these public funds are being used, that we not only need to be notified, we may have an opportunity to say no, right? And I think that's a completely reasonable thing to advocate for. Don't know if it'll happen. But the part about having a conversation about balancing conservation with tax capacity and policies and making sure that we're integrating that with the work that we're doing from our own county departments, that's 100% on us and easy to do.
Any other questions, comments, observations?
I guess one thing I can comment on is that Hubbard County's lost well over 10,000 acres of taxable properties in the last few years. So I think there's a misconception in the public that we're losing public lands when actually we're gaining quite a bit. And I don't think the government, whether it's the DNR or the states or the feds, need more land.
Yeah, I've had quite a few constituents approach me and say, you know what, I wish you would sell all of your taxable forfeited land so it goes into private ownership so that we can have a better tax base. But
We would
that
not
balance,
we would not have a better tax base.
I know.
We
It
would have
be-
to raise the levy by
Yep.
$4 million.
Yeah, it would be flip-flopped, and you try to explain it, it's difficult, but, no, we do appreciate, what your organization is doing. And I think it's just, even general conversation early in the timeframe would be appreciated, just generalities and whatnot, so that at least we kind of have a little bit of a knowledge of what's going on in the background anyway. And then, I know I've sent, or referred several people in the area to your organization for conservation purposes. They had interest in trying to protect their land for the future, and I don't know if anything happened or not, but I did refer them to you, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank
See,
you.
and I'll just use an example. I don't know if you were here during the Wanawak conversation, but, you know, what is it? Big Man Trap Lake is only 3% developed. And lakes are generally not in trouble till you, according to the DNR's own statistics and own information, until you hit 25% developed. That lake will never, ever get close to that because it's already public property around most of it. The max that lake will probably ever hit is 8%.
Yeah, and I think,
So that's why I had the position I had on those two bigger parcels that were on the nice lake shore south of the access and the campground, because there's room for both. And so that's where my frustration sets in, because that conversation never got to happen until the transaction was already done. And then the other frustration for me was, when the DNR or you guys go to the township and explain this thing, you don't always tell them what it can be. You tell them what it is and what the PILT was, but you never conveyed to them what the tax capacity would be if it were developed. Now, that's partly on them. They should know that, and those things should be churning in their head. But there's a far difference of in the tax capacity of what it can be and what it is. There's a big gap. And that's why I advocate to try and protect some of that for development, because it makes the taxpayer's life easier. It makes county government easier. It makes us better able to provide services to our constituents. If we lose that in too many places, it's going to get difficult. And then people's taxes start climbing rapidly. And we know we're in an environment right now where people have big concerns about that.
Reality.
You know, and we don't need more people leaving the state of Minnesota or leaving our community because the taxes are too high.
I came from a background of large private-owned estates, you know, with a Forester working for one of them. And the place I used to work at right now has been developed into very prime hunting grounds. In fact, it's one of the best in the entire southeast. It's a pretty well unknown, but I just recently watched a video on it. That place is loaded with wildlife. I mean, it's a beautiful place, and it's privately managed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many tools that we work with the SWCD on to equip private landowners with managing their lands well. You know, just generally, when a landowner comes to us, you know, sometimes we'll have a landowner come to us who is interested in an acquisition because they're not coming up to their lake home anymore. They're maybe not, their family's not in a position where they can financially keep the property, but they love their property and they want to see it protected, they want to see it conserved. And that property owner's choice to reach out to our organization and see what voluntary options there are. And sometimes, of course, we transfer those lands to the county to manage. And so what I'm hearing here is that, you know, the sticking spot is when the county is not interested in the property, and the DNR is interested, those early conversations can be had. And I'm hearing that loud and clear, and I think that there's an opportunity for us to just be more strategic together on what lands that we're acquiring in Hubbard County here.
Well, and I would go further than that, because even in the example you just conveyed to me, you know, where a private property owner might want to say, because they might want to make sure it's conserved for the future, that's all great and wonderful. But does that necessarily serve the best interest of the county taxpayer over the long term? I'm not sure. You know, every property is different, every case is different. And while that's perfectly the right of the property owner to do that, if every property owner did that, we wouldn't have anything. We would have no tax capacity.
Balance.
I mean, so there's a give and take here, and there's gonna be a push and pull now again against the thing.
Yeah.
Go again, it's not anything you guys are doing that, you know, I fault, because you're doing everything the way you should be doing it. The problem I have is we just have no say in it, you know, and yet it affects the county taxpayer greatly over the long term.
And I guess one of the things that is a concern of ours is PILT isn't set in stone. They can take it away anytime they want, and then we're left with nothing. Because there was that, so to say, threat of it this last session, that they're gonna reduce PILT or eliminate PILT, and we certainly don't want that. And that's one of our main concerns too, so.
And we've watched our neighboring counties that are highly full of public land struggle in today's environment because they have no tax capacity. And we don't ever want to get to that point in Hubbard County. You know, it is a give and a take. You try and balance it as best as you can, but sometimes it just seems like over the last 10, 15 years, it's been one-sided.
Okay, is there anything else? Annie, did you have anything else?
Nothing else at this time, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Right, well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Just a few updates then. We have with posting for Human Resource Director and Human Services Director. We did an internal posting for the Human Services Director, both of which are due by Friday this week. And I'm gonna wanna schedule interviews for next week or the week after. And I'm looking for one commissioner to serve on each one of those interview panels. So if you're interested, let me know afterwards. Construction update, this is the week that we're moving the attorney's office into the temporary space. And then next week, we should be starting construction on the attorney's office remodel. AMC is obviously this next week, so we're not having a work session on Tuesday next week, which means our last scheduled meeting of the month is December 16th. We have our Truth and Taxation meeting on Thursday at 6 o'clock here. And I'll be presenting the budget with the 22.97% that you last saw and we discussed. And then you'll have to make a determination on that in 2 weeks. Union negotiations are ongoing. There's a possibility. If I had a settlement today, I don't think I could have new contracts drafted and ready for the meeting on December 16th. So there is the potential that we might have to have a special meeting if we have contracts ready to approve before the end of the year, which benefits us administratively significantly. So I will, Tom, I should give you an update after the meeting, and then we'll have to just keep an eye on that. But I think that is all the updates I have, unless you have questions.
I don't see any. Okay, thank you. Committee reports, is there anything to report?
I've got a couple. Let's see, Mississippi Headwaters Board, this meeting ended up being shortened a little bit. We had a quorum, we just didn't have a room to hold our meeting in. It was a scheduling mistake by our executive director, but we did get through all the very important items. We talked, started the meeting talking about our biennial conference that we'd had the month before. Then we had 4 variance requests, all of them in Beltrami County, and all of them pretty straightforward. It's just one of those things where they were in the zone that the Mississippi Headwaters Board does have jurisdiction over, so they have to come before us to get the final approval, and they all did get the final approval. There was one with Minnesota Power, some solar construction. That was basically informative for us, and we did have some questions, but there was nobody there from Minnesota Power to answer them. But in the future, if this does advance, we will, of course, have our opportunities. And then we, did some administrative stuff, Minnesota Traditions, which is the Mississippi Headwaters Board's social media platform. We discussed that and where it is going and where it should go. And a legislative update to raise the Mississippi Headwaters Board's funding. We get our funding basically from the state of Minnesota, and it hasn't gone up in quite a few years. And that's all I have for the Mississippi Headwaters Board. Then we had Northwestern Minnesota Juvenile Center. Let's see. I know Steve was also there. Went through some, the normal stuff, client movement, stuff like that, licensing compliance. Also updated our Minnesota paid leave policies, which it seems like every committee I'm on and county board and even at my regular job, we're all updating those kinds of things. And talked about updating our contact information on the website. Looked at some quotes for our audit. The person who does our audit has retired, and we're looking at hiring a new audit firm. So we had some quotes there. And I think that was the high spots. Did I miss anything?
No, no, it just seems like it's getting more difficult to find people to do audits,
Yes,
you know.
definitely.
Good? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I had SWCD meeting. I did have to leave early to go to one of the labor negotiations, but while I was there, they approved a Houston Engineering to do Necktie River project. Approved their tree sale list for 2026. And then they were going, what was next on the agenda, but I missed it, and I can go right into the Parks Board. One of the things is there's several wells at Deep Lake Park that need to be capped off, and they coordinating with SWCD for half of the price. being
Yeah, I
covered
was
by-
hoping that would work out.
Yep, I don't know if they actually approved it yet, but I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Because I had to leave before they got to that
Sure.
part on the agenda.
Yep.
We've already brought up some conversation with the park boards here just recently. I think maybe one other thing I can add is they were going to have concrete around the basketball court, well, they never couldn't arrange it with the contractor to do it, so that'll be done in the spring. And then what took up a number of meetings is the Kitchigami Regional Library Board. Two of them were with, for the labor negotiations, so I was doing it with not only county, but this, would do it with the library. We did reach a tentative agreement. It has to be voted on first, and then signed by the union representatives, and then we're gonna also have a special meeting in probably week after next of the library board for the board to approve it then, for the same reasons that Jeff just said for the county. And then, let's see, we've had first readings of several policies. One was their travel and vehicle use, another visitors in the workplace, and then third one, materials checkout policy. We usually have 2 readings so we can have opportunity for refining it with more input. And then we also approved the release of $57,000 from our capital improvement fund, which was all part of the effort of reducing what was the excessive levels of fund balance. And that was released to the Wadena Library for the upgrade to their HVAC system. And then that's all I have.
Okay, well, I had Northwest Juvenile. I didn't have anything additional there. And the other 2 I had were canceled because of the holidays. So, simple. Dave?
So I got a couple things. The fair board had a little bit of a changeover in its board members, so a little bit changed there. And Jeff, did they reach out to you on the new contract yet?
Yep.
Okay, so contract's up for renewal this year, so we should be seeing that soon. And that's about it on the fair board. Heritage Community, the CMS overall star rating for October was 5, health inspection was 5, quality measure was 3, staffing was 4, and the Minnesota nursing home report card was still at 2, although that's supposed to be changing. There's just a big delay in it. EBITDA-wise, Heritage Manor had a positive $59,919. The cottages was minus $660. And Heritage Living Center was a positive EBITDA of $26,254. So the combined total EBITDA was $85,513 for October. As of November 25th, the census was 24 out of 26 apartments in Heritage Manor. The cottages have 16 to 18 apartments occupied currently, and the census at the living center is at 43. So it was a pretty good month overall. And that's what I have.
Okay. I'll be attending Prime West in Char's place. She's on vacation, so she won't be here Thursday either for the TNT meeting. So we need to make sure we have a quorum here. And other than that, I guess, are we going to do a closed session for contract? No?
We don't have anything that we didn't
Okay.
have discussed in the last two.
Okay, all right. It was just on our agenda, so I wanted to make sure we weren't missing anything. Okay, with that, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Ted. Is there a se- Thank you, Tom.
At the beginning of the meeting.
At the beginning of the meeting, we have a spot for public input, so. Yeah, yes. All right, so we have a motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor?